So I just got out of dinner and I want to know, what the fuck is this alien bullshit? What is this? Are they watching us?
So this frickin' thing, it's staring at me. It followed me home from the gifting rock. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning right now. I think I don't know what to do. But it followed me home and it is absolutely staring at me right now. Alright.
That one is down there. It's got to be about 12 inches across. And this one looks like it has a bite out of it. And this one. And there's one over here. Looks like it's holding some water. Huh? I think it's time to go.
Louisiana, mysterious object spotted in the clouds.
Oh, see that? What is that? I think it's a UFO. Slow it's moving. It's moving too slow. It's too big and too slow. What is that?
Is that a cow? What is that? Oh, frick!
Officials from the Federal Aviation Administration say there were no aircraft incidents or accidents in this area Tuesday night, but multiple witnesses report seeing a large blue object fall out of the sky and into the ocean.
Something is in the sky.
This video was taken by Misatina Sape at 8:26 Tuesday night near Haleakala Avenue in Nanakuli. Not long after, a woman named Mariah spotted the same thing passing over Princess Colony. journey ended less than 3 miles from where it began, on Farrington Highway in front of the Board of Water Supply building, after the object appeared to drop into the ocean.
Or the going line in the water, whatever it is.
Kind of craft, watch this. It enters the volcano, the lava itself, into the caldera. At first I thought the drone, if it were a drone, would have been eaten up, but watch very closely here. It reveals itself once again on camera, and it just basically seemingly did what it needed to do. It harvested energy from the volcano, as we've been speculating for many decades now. Brett, what's your thoughts here?
Yeah, again, I thought it could have just been maybe a hot dog drone pilot trying to get the best shot, flying this drone into this caldera, this cone of magma, get the epic shot. But then I wasn't expecting this thing to come out the other end.
Is that a UFO or am I crazy? What the fuck is that? It's like levitating and slowly going higher. Why is it coming at me? Is it coming at me or am I fucking crazy? I'm gonna kill myself. This is so scary. What the fuck is that? What the fuck is levitating menacingly?
Someone was walking by, bro, and they just disappeared when they got by the tree.
Un guardia de seguridad se dirige al lugar donde su compañero asegura que vio algo.
There was a lady walking, and she just disappeared in the sidewalk.
Inspecciona el lugar, pero no ve a nada y a nadie.
What the fuck? I know you guys ain't believe me, but somebody walking by. ¿Qué pasó, güey? Oh, güey, mira. Ahí va saliendo. What the fuck? Mira. What the hell? Salió de un hoyo, güey, no mames. Mira. Ahí va. What the fuck? What is that? ¿Qué es eso, güey?
¿Sabes a quién se parece la viejita que camina?
Es la Llorona, güey. No mames. Mira.
That's really weird.
That's sickly, didn't it? What the hell is that?
I don't know. It's like oh, yeah, that fast. It's like that. Huh. That's kind of cool.
It's behind the tree.
Yeah.
And it's getting faster.
Is it connected to anything?
I don't know. I can't see in the dark.
I thought it was like a windmill. At first,
There's a smoke coming off it almost.
yeah. I thought it was like a Ferris wheel. That's weird. Alright, you wanna go?
¿Pero eso de allá será que se suben en caballos?
Yo creo.
Porque eso es de por otro lado.
¿Eso qué es? No sé.
Hello? Like we've already passed it a while ago, but that tree is gone. I'm probably gonna turn around soon. Oh, there's two ways. Holy crap, dude, this trail goes on forever. It just got really quiet really fast. That was my cue to leave.
What was this?
God damn. Oh my god, what is that? Oh my god! What is that?
¿Qué es eso? ¿Qué era un ruido? ¿Qué era eso?
Ponga mucha atención a esta secuencia.
¿Puede ser un dron?
O un satélite.
No, se está yendo a la chucha. Es una estrella, ¿sabes?
Qué chucha, weón.
El asteroide que iba a pasar ayer y pasó hoy día.
Es Cata. No, como. ¡Oh! ¡Weón! ¡Qué chucha! Queda acá.
Alucinante avistamiento acontecido cuando un grupo de jóvenes se percató de la presencia de un extraño objeto órbico que mantenía un movimiento descendente, aparentemente sobre los montes de la localidad de Macul, zona sureste de la ciudad de Santiago de Chile. La impresión de los testigos se debe a que el objeto, donde en primera instancia fue identificado como un dron o satélite, efectúa un sorpresivo ascenso, para luego desaparecer rápidamente del rango visual. En las imágenes estamos presenciando de un tímido objeto en forma de orbe, que desciende lentamente de manera vertical, donde aparentemente al percatarse que estaba siendo observado, realiza un rápido ascenso hacia el firmamento sobre la cordillera de los Andes de Santiago de Chile, área altamente candente de avistamientos ovnis. ¿Y tú? ¿Qué crees? Somos UFO 5537. Te contamos sobre sucesos ufólogos a nivel universal y en habla hispana. Síguenos para más contenido. Gracias por tu atención.
¡Weón! ¡Qué chucha! ¿Qué acá?
This the spot. Nah, come back out. Look, why they be peeking like that? Peeking. Alright, so look, let me know.
The following footage is captured by this family. The little girl runs to her father to let him know that something or someone is watching her from the woods. When he pans over there, he catches something, but the question is, what is it? It's humanoid, but is it a human? It's interesting to look at its arms. They're extremely long. They look longer than the legs. It doesn't look like a classic Bigfoot. But the question remains, what is this thing? Take a look at this footage and tell me what you think.
Over there.
Over where?
Right there.
Hey! What are you doing over there?
Amigo. Apaga la luz. Apaga la luz.
La noche del domingo 5 de mayo del 2024, el joven Rafael Benvedetti, desde la localidad de Escobar, en Buenos Aires, Argentina, logró documentar un misterioso acontecimiento que es denominado por los investigadores y especialistas como Racing Track o pista de carreras, luces misteriosas de origen desconocido que se mueven en el cielo a una velocidad extraordinaria. En la grabación obtenida por el joven Benvedetti, podemos observar los desplazamientos de las extrañas luces que en un movimiento de ida y vuelta, en cuestión de segundos, recorren varias decenas de kilómetros.
Amigo. Apaga la luz. Apaga la luz.
Asimismo, esa misma noche del 5 de mayo, otro testigo que circulaba en un camino de esta misma localidad de Escobar, desde su automóvil registró el fugaz movimiento de estas luces. La toma nos permite confirmar la enorme velocidad a la que se mueven.
Amigo, ¿qué carajo es eso? ¿O haciendo contramano? Amigo, ¿qué carajo? Amigo.
Se ha descartado la probabilidad de que se trate de cañones de luz, ya que no se aprecian haces que provengan de la superficie, y no existe manera de que la luz de los reflectores puedan abarcar grandes distancias como lo estamos viendo en este video. El origen de estas señales definitivamente está ubicado en el cielo. El verdadero misterio consiste en tratar de entender qué es lo que nos están diciendo. La divulgación de estas evidencias en video a través de redes sociales ha generado un profundo interés en la opinión pública y en los medios de comunicación de Argentina, quienes están dando seguimiento a este importante avistamiento. El canal de noticias La Nación entrevistó al autor del video, Rafael Benvedetti, quien así narró los detalles de este acontecimiento.
¿Cómo? Contanos un poco del momento, ¿no? O sea, vos sacaste el celular, lo grabaste, la verdad es que...
No fue así en realidad. Yo en realidad abrí aquí atrás, como ustedes ven, que es el comedor de mi casa, para que mis perros, yo tengo 5 perros, ellos salen generalmente al jardín, entonces yo les abrí y cuando les abro la puerta me encuentro con esto tan raro en el cielo. Realmente me sorprendió tanto que le digo a mi mujer Michelle, le digo, ¿vos estás viendo lo mismo que yo? Y enseguida ella atrás, con el celular, me dijo, sí, lo estoy viendo y lo estoy filmando.
Claro, somos dos, no estoy loco, lo estamos viendo los dos.
El patrón de comportamiento de este Racing Track es el mismo que había sido reportado en Japón las noches del 14 y 15 de mayo del 2022, donde cientos de luces fueron vistas recorriendo a gran velocidad la ciudad de Tokio. De acuerdo a la información, fueron cientos de testigos quienes atemorizados observaron este fenómeno, derivando en que las líneas de emergencia se saturaran. Del mismo modo, luces desplazándose a velocidades sorprendentes fueron vistas en Ohio el 8 de enero del 2022. Jesús Esquivel Reyes envió a la redacción de Tercer Milenio una grabación registrada la noche del martes 30 de abril del 2024 por un automovilista que circulaba en una autopista del estado de Virginia en la Unión Americana, y en donde podemos apreciar los sorprendentes movimientos sincronizados de una serie de luces en el cielo, que al igual que las de Argentina, recorren grandes distancias y realizan movimientos coordinados. Las luces se separan por varios kilómetros y en instantes vuelven a concentrarse en un solo punto. ¿Qué explicación podemos darle a esta clase de manifestaciones? Al observar estas imágenes podemos entender que estamos ante un verdadero enigma, el cual desafía todas las explicaciones convencionales. Lo cierto es que podemos deducir que sin duda, alguien que no es de este mundo podría estar tratando de llamar nuestra atención. Información para Tercer Milenio 360 Internacional.
Incredible video trending social media of what looks like an extraterrestrial short gray. Now we also have a picture of this fella at the bottom of the video, as you guys could see. Apparently this home security camera in what they're titling on social media Skinwalker Ranch happens to be this baby little alien that's like 3 to 4 feet. And you know, many people have claimed to have seen these grays, and sometimes they're tall, sometimes they're not. But you know, if you look at the pyramids and you know, all the indigenous people back in the days, they used to draw these grays on the walls of the pyramids. And what do they have in common with human beings? Is it humans from the future coming back? Comment below.
Almost gonna find out in front.
Hi, you are currently being recorded.
Wow. Alien. Oh shit, it's moving. Oh damn.
Three.
And why down on us?
Yeah, that group there is moving. That one's really big. It's not working on my video. See, there's no light there on that video now, but it's on the...
That was really moving around.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Coming out in a photo.
You boys.
Ой, блядь, паук опять поселился. А ну подожди. Сейчас я буду. Что-то... Это что вообще такое? Это не он?
I'm fucked up. Jimmy, you ain't fucked up. But that shit's getting all but close to the moon. You see it?
Yeah, I see it.
Our fuck is fucked up. Our government is fucked up.
What was that?
Why? Bam!
What did it just hit?
Look at it. Look at the fucking smoke ring. Are you fucking shitting me? I'm a drunk ass redneck videoing some fucking shit. Like, what in the fuck is that? There's the fucking moon. This bullshit just sent a fucking shockwave. What?
Alright y'all, we're gonna fix this fair and square, okay? These are all Bibles. They're all different Bibles. This is a 1611 King James, this is a King James, this is an Amplified, this is New Living Translation, and this is a New King James. And I also got 2 more King James right there. Ask me why I have so many Bibles. Well, because I love the Lord. That's why. Alright, so we're going to start with this Amplified right here. On Revelation 13 verse 16 says, on the New Living Translation, on. Even the New King James, on. Now you go over to the King James, and it's in. And it's in. Now the 1611, just for proof, the 1611, right here, very old Bible, in. That's why you guys are walking around thinking that's gonna be a freaking tattoo stamped on your forehead and arm. It's in your body, guys. It's not on the outer skin. It's going to be something inside you. Think about that.
I'm going to let you guys in on some mind-blowing information. You do with it what you will. Roundup, the weed killer that is known to cause cancer and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma due to the glyphosate in it, is owned by Monsanto's. Monsanto's also owns a very popular pharmaceutical brand named Bayer aspirin. What you might not know is that before they were rebranded in 1972, it was known as farbenfrabricin, which produced the poisonous gases that were used in the gas chambers during the Holocaust. They had to rebrand because a number of the men that were in this company were in the Farben trials for creating this poisonous gas that unalived millions of people. Now glyphosate is in 67% of American foods. Not only do they own Roundup and Bayer, but I'm going to show you a list of companies that they either own or sell their modified products to. If I were you, I would screenshot these. There is a reason why Americans spend the most amount of money on pharmaceuticals every year, yet we are the sickest first world country. They sell us the food that causes the cancer, and then they own the companies that sell the cancer treatments. They own the company that sells the pharmaceuticals that help with the disease that is running rampant in America. Our food system in America is being run by a chemical company. A chemical company is running our food system in America. Just let that sink in for a minute.
Adolf Hitler's father was Alois Schicklgruber, the bastard child of Maria Schicklgruber, who changed his name to Hitler to hide the fact that he was an illegitimate child. Many historians have claimed that Maria was impregnated by Baron Rothschild when she worked for him. The Rothschilds have been known to breed thousands of illegitimate children under different names to serve the family's agenda. And their name isn't really Rothschild. In the late 18th century, Mayor Amschel Bauer was the private banker for the black nobility through the House of Hesse, and changed the family name just before expanding the family business. Rothschild means Red Shield, which was their company logo, a six-pointed star, which has become known as the Star of David. This was not a Jewish symbol. It was introduced by the Rothschilds, who later funded the Zionists. And in 1948, Rothschild influence compelled the State of Israel to adopt the hexagram as their national symbol. In the late 1800s, Cecil Rhodes set up a secret society to preserve the expansion of the British Empire. Known as the Milner Group, their main focus from 1920 to 1938 was to maintain the balance of power in Europe by building up Germany and pitting them against France and Russia. They discussed creating a situation that would compel Germany to start a Second World War. During this time, the reparations from the Treaty of Versailles led to hyperinflation in Germany. And in 1930, as the international banking system was collapsing, the Young Plan was enacted, which required Germany to pay about 2 billion Reichsmarks annually, payable through 1988. This scheme was funded by J.P. Morgan, led by the founder of RCA, and directed by members of the Milner Group. It broke the German economy. In 1933, Hitler secured funding from the Bank of England, which was run by the Rothschild banking dynasty. This deal was brokered by John Foster Dulles and Allen Dulles, who later headed the CIA. With initial funding from the Rothschild Bank of England, Germany invaded Poland and received additional funding from the Bush family's Brown Brothers Harriman. The Germans were fueled by Standard Oil and supported by Ford, General Electric, DuPont, and IBM, all of which profited greatly from the war. World War II accomplished the stated goals of the Milner Group. It made the banks and their cronies even richer, and it directly led to the creation of the United Nations and Israel. Theodor Herzl, the founder of the Zionist movement, was not a religious Jew. Officially, he was an atheist, but more likely, he was an occultist agent of the Rothschilds. He was no fan of the Jews. In his own words, he sympathized with anti-Jewish sentiment. His original plan was to have them all convert to Catholicism, and when that failed, he decided they should be expelled from Europe. In 1933, the Havara Agreement, or Transfer Agreement, was made between Nazi Germany and the Zionists, wherein German Jews would be sent to Palestine. Non-Zionist Jews did not want to leave, and so the Nazis encouraged them through persecution. In 1917, the British government announced its support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine, known as the Balfour Declaration, and seized control of the land. After the Second World War, with Holocaust propaganda used as the catalyst, this land was gifted to the Zionists from the British, and the State of Israel was officially created. Between 1947 and 1949, the Zionists murdered the locals, destroyed hundreds of villages, and expelled more than 700,000 Palestinians. A savage invasion celebrated every May 15th, known as Nakba Day. Before Zionism created the State of Israel, Jews did not have a common language or nationality, and they were not considered to be a race. The historical record tells us that the Khazars were known for starting wars through deception, and about 700 years ago, they all converted to Judaism. These are the Ashkenazi Jews, who later became Zionists and persecuted the Sephardic Jews of Palestine. They do not follow the teachings of the Torah. They follow the Talmud, ancient teachings that can be described as anti-Christian or satanic. The motto of Israeli Mossad, by way of deception, thou shalt do war, really sums up the nature of Zionism, which includes evangelical Christians and certain sects of Islam. With 80% of the world being religious, religion is the easiest way to ignite a war, which is what the central banks always want. Reporting for InfoWars, this is Greg Reese.
you know that Asgard is not the highest heavens in the Norse tradition? Indeed. In fact, in a poem called the Grimnismal, Odin tells us that there is Asgard, the realm where every god has a hall. But above Asgard, there is an even higher heaven called Andlang. Spiritlang, And is the word for spirit. So it's like the spirit realm, the spirit world. And above Andlang is Vidblauen, the wide blue. And in Vidblauen, the highest of heavens, we find a hole called Gimle, where it is bright and shining, and only good things can exist. And in Gimle, those who reside in Gimle survive Ragnarok. And the only beings to be found in Gimle are light elves, the Ljósalfar. And it is even said that when the gods move on from their realm of Asgard, they go to Vidblauen, to Gimle. So it's interesting to note that Asgard is not the highest realm, that there are even higher realms. Hail.
I didn't think I'd be waking up to abject biological horror today, but here we are. The brain organoids, the tiny human brains that we can grow in jars, have been released for commercial processing access. If you're not familiar with these guys, they are human brains that have been grown from stem cells, and they have brainwaves very similar to a premature baby's. I am not kidding. The limitations on their use and their growth seems to be hypoxia due to the fact that they're a disembodied brain and don't have a circulatory system. They can be attached to a computer chip and have better processing power than our most advanced AI. A Swiss company, Neuroplatform, is debuting their biological computer chips and giving access to private citizens to use the processing power of the brain organoids. While there are 16 brain organoids to a chip, they're maintaining thousands of them. They also have mouse and rat brain organoids, but they explicitly used human brain organoids. There have been some advancements in being able to keep them alive longer, including keeping them in a media that's oxygen rich and shaking them. They live about 100 days, so they will constantly need to be refreshed. As for the company, you personally can get access to their computation. It is going to run you about $500 a month if you're in education. I am frustrated. This is brand new technology. It is pretty spooky. Those are functional little eyes that can perceive light. They are immature human brains. They have all the structures that a human brain should have. They're just never reached that point in development because, you know, the lack of a circulatory system. But scientists are doing their very best to make them bigger and more complex. At what point are we going to bring ethics into the equation?
Do you believe in government conspiracies?
Oh, absolutely.
No, I'm serious.
No, definitely. No, oh my God.
I know I heard you did. Are you serious now?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm very serious. You can't tell, can you?
I can't tell, no.
Can't tell.
You know what I'm getting at. I read that you felt that the government was deliberately spraying cold germs in subways, was deliberately trying to make people ill with the AIDS virus. This is pretty serious stuff. Do you really feel that?
Well, that's a good question. Well, I'm with Barbara Walters now. Oh, that's a serious one. Okay, so I got to, now, because people are going to chase me after this. People are going to chase me. I believe that it is quite highly possible that the AIDS virus is a result of genetic warfare testing.
By American agents?
Absolutely.
Well, why
am I a conspiracy theorist? I'm a conspiracy theorist, all right. I didn't want to be a conspiracy theorist. I wanted to be regular.
Well, you're a little irregular. Serious stuff.
When Leo Hu recently tried to book a flight, he was told he was banned from flying because he's on the list of untrustworthy people. Leo was a journalist who was ordered by a court to apologize for a series of tweets he wrote and was then told his apology was insincere. I can't buy property. My child can't go to private school, he says. You feel you're being controlled by the list all the time. And the list is now getting longer, as every Chinese citizen is being assigned a social credit score, a fluctuating rating based on a range of behaviors. It's believed that community service and buying Chinese-made products can raise your score. Fraud, tax evasion, and smoking in non-smoking areas can drop it. China's growing network of surveillance cameras makes all of this possible.
It can recognize more than 4,000 vehicles.
Xu Li is the CEO of SenseTime, one of China's most successful artificial intelligence companies. It has created smart cameras for the government that can help catch criminals, but also track average citizens.
You can tell whether it is an adult, a child, a male or female.
Ken DeWaskin has studied China's economic and political culture for more than 3 decades. He says how the new scoring system truly works is kept secret and could be easily abused by the government.
How far into people's daily mundane activities does this go?
Well, I think that the government and the people running the plan would like it to go as deeply as possible to determine how to allocate benefits and also how to impact and shape their behavior.
The fear, of course, is that the government may use this social credit scoring system to punish people that it deems not sufficiently loyal to the Communist Party. And trying to clear your name or fight your score is nearly impossible because there is no due process. Ben Tracy, CBS News, Beijing.
This is called empire. This is imperialism. These are all the military bases the United States has around the world. You know, no other country has this. Just the United States has this. Nobody else does this. China, Russia, they don't have bases all over the world. Who does? We do. Because that's how capitalism ends up. You have to use a gun to keep it going. And you have to become fascists, which is what Joe Biden did to the railroad workers when he crushed their railroad strike. That's called fascism. The stuff that you hear all the time on TV as fascism isn't. That was actual fascism, and this is why our country is going down the shitter, and we're ending like all great empires end. We're overextending militarily while we won't take care of our own people at home. We just sent $15 billion, which could take care of everybody here in the United States. We just sent it to Ukraine with no debate, no talking about it. And we just built another military base in Syria. We built 3 more in the Philippines just in the last couple months. That's where your money's going because your government is 100% corrupt, not regular corrupt. It's 100% corrupt. This is called corruption. Do you see this? Do you know what this is called? This is called $1 trillion a year in corruption, because that's all this is. These people are there, these military bases are there to make sure American corporations can extract natural resources from these places. Look at all the bases we have outside of China. Look at this. Here comes South America, Central America. Look at that. Can you imagine if China had these many bases in South and Central America or anywhere?
Yeah, right.
Can you imagine if China had all these bases in the Middle East? Imagine.
We have to have those bases so they don't get those.
So they don't get them.
Yeah. Don't you know there can be only one Jimmy? Didn't you see The Highlander?
No, I didn't. Oh. But that's where your money's going, and people are not upset.
I was sold to a man that I knew as Louis Valou. This guy named Louis Valou was essentially part of organized crime in Lower Manhattan in Chinatown, and he was one of my handlers growing up, and I had a very intense relationship with him on many levels. There was a period where he was grooming me essentially to take his position. I had to do a lot of physical violence towards other children as part of his initiations, and some of that culminated in public death matches, cage matches with other children in Chinatown for paying audiences.
How would an audience, I mean, this must all be inside the network. I can't imagine that there'd be something like that anybody could ever figure out, and it's happening right downtown.
I'm imagining the invitations were very exclusive, yeah. I strongly doubt any random people would find out about it.
And what kind of places would this even happen in?
I mean, to be honest, I was often blindfolded and taken to these places, so it's often hard to say where exactly they are. I know some of them are in wealthy enclaves outside the city, like in Westchester County, upstate a little bit. But then there are also versions of it that happen right in Chinatown, just in basements in Chinatown.
First, they're sour. Then they're sweet. Sour, sweet.
The word Israel is not a Jewish word, okay? The word Israel is a combination of 3 Egyptian gods. The first one is Isis, which is the virgin spirit. The second one is Ra, which is the male. This is feminine, which is the male mind. Okay? When the spirit and the mind are in unison together, Isra, they produce the god El, which means the power within. Okay? That's why the word angel and all of the angels are named Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, Raphael, and all that, because it's talking about an impulse within you. So it has nothing to do with a nationality or a country. I mean,
there's just a simple economic fact. Let's not get conspiratorial. Let's not get emotional. We are being poisoned as a population at scale. And that's happening because the largest industry in the country, again, just as a statement of economic fact, makes money when we get sicker, when we get more depressed, when we get more infertile. The healthcare is the largest industry in the country. It's the fastest growing industry in the country. More mortgages when we drive through a neighborhood are paid for by the healthcare industry. More people, their dignity is tied to that industry. And I worked for pharma, and I worked for the food industry, which we can get into. They're very connected. And the raw economic fact is that those industries are fueled by an imperative for not only for us to get sicker, but for kids to get sicker. Chronic disease is the greatest economic invention, the greatest profit maximizing invention in human history, because it's recurring revenue, and we don't die right away, and we think our savior's in a pill. We live in fear. We're told to trust the system, and we keep racking up pills.
Ireland just performed a live satanic ritual on stage for the Eurovision 2024 semifinals. Viewer discretion is advised. At the end of this clip, there is some demonic possession being reenacted, and if you don't know what Eurovision is, it's an international song competition where each country performs a song and their performances are voted on.
Based on that, yes, these installations for the most part are subterranean, and they go down several levels. I can't give specifics, but they are real. Deep underground military bases are a real thing. It's the most common practice for all this technology because they have somewhere to store it, and it's safe from nuclear fallout, nuclear exchange. So I wish I could talk about it further, but I honestly can't. So maybe one day in the future I will be able to, and when that does happen, I'll be able to point and paint a picture for everybody so they understand. But it's a lot of money to fund these, and what the interesting thing about this too is all these installations are very self-sufficient. So everybody's asked, well, what about the janitors? What about the people who prep the food or do facilities maintenance? Like, why don't they come forward? Well, they're also taken in the demographic of people that may not have this ability with P3 when they're screened, but they use these refugees also to use this. And if they're given a good lifestyle, they're taken care of, they have medical, they've got education, their families are taken care of, then they will not come forward and risk their livelihood because they're technically illegal immigrants, and there's a risk that, let's say, if they were to get deported or something, they'd have to go back to where they're at. They don't want to go back to a impoverished area. They want to stay in the program they're doing because they're taken care of.
Sure.
And that's kind of
sense.
it's because what they have expressed is that if you were to go liberate people in these installations, they are people who don't want to be liberated. They want to just resume their lifestyle because they're given everything they need, more than what they would be in their original environment that they come from.
Go ahead, Jonathan.
Yeah, I just wanted to wait. I need to get that documentation before I want to talk about it.
All right.
Now I'd like to speak directly to those who have fought factually, respectfully, and relentlessly for the truth over the last 3 years. As of 4/10/24, I got another one of these certified letters from the state election board. Every time I get one of those letters, my wife sets it on my desk and she says, "You got another one of those certified letters. I hope you're not being indicted this time." But anyways, as of that letter, it has now been factually proven that both the hand audit, this is really, really important, and the certified machine count, yes, the certified count, have both been found to be in violation of Georgia election law. Based on these findings, to those that have fought factually, respectfully, and relentlessly, I'll close with one word: vindicated.
Thank you, Joe.
Over 951 cubic feet of granite make up the 11 pieces of the monument. The overall height is 19 feet 3 inches from the surface of the ground to the top of the capstone.
Thank you. Congratulations.
There are slots and holes in the center stone that have astrological significance because they have been cut at precise angles to permit accurate readings of the sun and moon at various times of the year.
Standing on the highest point of Elbert County, the Georgia Guidestones have raised a lot of questions. 4 upright stones more than 16 feet high, with support stones totaling almost 238,000 pounds. And there's a message sandblasted in 12 languages in letters 2 inches tall. The sponsors of the mysterious project are said to be an anonymous group of out-of-state Americans promoting the concept of the conservation of mankind. Here's the mystery, though. Elberton granite businessman Joe Findlay was contacted to build the project by a man using the fictitious name of R.C. Christian. Granite City Bank President Wyatt Martin served as intermediary, handled the escrow account for all funds, and says he'll carry the secret of who R.C. Christian is to his grave. Well, in spite of what we don't know, Congressman Doug Bernard dedicated the Guidestones with an open mind.
We must stress today the need for self-control, for self-restraint, and yes, self-government, all of which I interpret in this Georgia Guidestone.
The sense of permanence is there, and we do know this. The Georgia Guidestones are some of the largest granite monuments ever erected, and they can be seen for years to come on Georgia Highway 77, 7 miles north of Elberton. Matt Hunt, Action News, on the scene in Northeast Georgia.
And whenever you might desire in the future to inspect the monument.
What I experienced as a kid growing up in Judaism, nonstop abuse, nonstop lies, nonstop being programmed to think we're better than everyone else and we should kill everyone else and take their stuff. How and why did Israel kill JFK? How and why did Israel do 9/11 and take over our government? It's anti-Semitism does not exist. Actually, there is anti-Satanism, and I am a proud anti-Satanist because Satan is the deity of Torah, okay? And so 100%, not all of them know this because they've been psyops. They think they worship God, a lot of them. They're like the good God who told us to kill all the people, the good God who told us to commit genocide, the good guy who told us to chop off baby penises, the good God who told us to take slaves from neighboring nations. No, that's not the good God, that's Satan. Satan is the deity of Torah. So I'm an anti-Satanist, and I say every single copy of Torah needs to be burned and deleted. That would solve the problem. The Zionist Jews are the most powerful ones, right? But that tribe, that cult, that cabal has de facto 100% control of all sources of American power. Okay, so our spy agencies, the CIA, the NSA, the FBI, our military, the White House, Congress, probably most of our judicial system, and our media and lots of other stuff, it's all controlled by that cabal. Which, yeah, we live in, I call it like the usurped states of Zionism and the Central Intelligence Agency, and the CIA is basically run by Israel. And some people kind of call it Jumerica, and I think there's some truth to that. I think we kind of live in Jumerica at this point, and we need America. And we need to not have a country run by Jews. I mean, that's just the reality. And again, not all Jews, just in case anyone's listening to this recording, I'm not saying all Jews, I'm saying the powerful Jews at the top. It's obvious. Like, you have to be blind not to see it. Well,
the Star of David, where does that symbol come from?
It's never written explicitly in the Bible itself.
Is it in the Talmud? Perhaps. Is there a passage in the Bible about that, or no?
No.
Okay. So you're not really sure exactly where that comes from?
No.
You got me.
Is it nobody knows,
Yeah,
huh?
I don't know. I'm not. Yeah.
Because I know it's called the Star of David.
Yeah.
Does it have anything to do with David?
No, I don't think so.
There must be somewhere. I do not remember exactly what the association was.
Okay. I believe that what they call the Star of David is actually the Star of Remphan. Because when you study the Bible, you'll see that when they worshipped other gods, the Bible talks about them carrying the banner of the star of their god Remphan.
You rejected the God of the Bible. You took up for yourself the star, that's the six-pointed star, of your God, called Remphan or Kiyun. All these were names for Moloch. But the God they worship, the great architect, is Moloch, the star god.
Yeah, it's actually the Star of Moloch, which is what they also call the Great Architect or the Star God, which is what all these Satanist type people all worship. That's whose star it is. And interestingly, it's also the star used in Freemasonry, which they say is basically has the same beliefs as the Jews, which is that everyone on earth basically needs to be killed except for them. At the high levels. They don't teach, see that's the thing, they don't, you can go to a Freemason lodge, you'll find a bunch of dirty cops there and probably some lawyers and some people who want to like make money. And they have no idea what it's all about. But at the very top, it's the same. There appears to be a lot of people who call themselves Jews now who are actually from Khazaria, which is an area basically where the Ukraine is, where a lot of Jews are now moving. The Laz people who are from Khazaria also use the same symbol, the six-pointed star. So the Khazarian people use it, and the Jews use it, and it's apparently the Star of Moloch.
He admitted that this was a distraction for humanity.
Yeah, good one.
What is that?
That's
lasers, right?
Yeah, I can actually talk about that one, but that is this is really bad, but you know the people that see orbs in the sky?
Yeah.
Go around that fly faster
UFOs?
than UFOs.
Yeah, there's Navy pilots. There's multiple Navy pilots who talk about they got their, so they were flying F-18s, these Navy pilots, and one of them's coming in here in 2 weeks. He's Ryan Graves.
Okay.
He's a Navy pilot flying off the coast of North Carolina, and they got their radar upgraded on their F-18s, and all of a sudden they were seeing these things darting around on their radar.
Okay. Don't tell him what I'm about to say and see if he knows about it.
Okay.
So what we do is we play with our own forces, make sure our trickery will work on the enemy. And those are directed energy weapons of where we do intersecting beams or focus beams into the atmosphere. And notice they're always in the atmosphere to excite the electron orbitals of the oxygen and nitrogen in our atmosphere, and it causes a glow and it causes ionization. That ionization shows up on radar, and it's like a cat laser pointer, and we're making planes chase them.
That's exactly how they describe these things moving, like laser pointers.
Yeah, and so we can do it in 3 space. We can make it look like
in 3-dimensional space.
Yeah, and we can make it look like an entire fleet is about to drop bombs on, let's say, Europe, and then just have them disappear. And they get all their planes up in the air, and we attack them from the other direction, assuming we're attacking Europe.
Who is doing this? The Navy, you said?
Somebody. Let's just say a group, you know.
And you know this for a fact.
I know for a fact, yeah. So anyway, don't tell your guests.
A group within the U.S. government.
Yeah, okay, we'll leave it at that. Yes.
And is this something that could be seen with the naked eye? Or
yes,
is this something
because
that
it glows. It glows. So it would be seeable, you can see it by the naked eye, and it would leave a radar trace. So it's perfect. as a deception, and it involves the voice of God weapons that I was talking about.
Project Bluebeam.
And this got leaked. So it probably won't have the effect, and they probably won't do it. But if you wanted to bring the world together, as President Reagan said in several UN speeches, you would have a common enemy like evil aliens attacking. We forget our differences and we fight against it.
So we wouldn't look at each other as Chinese or Russian or American. We'd look at each other as Earthlings.
It's humans. Yeah, as Earthlings. And so that was Project Bluebeam, was to trick the human race into believing either God is coming down, everybody hears the voice of God, the microwave hearing effect, get along, whatever the new message is, or it was going to be the evil aliens attacking. And notice how they, all of a sudden, all the governments release all their information on UFOs, and there's a whole division dedicated, and that's just deception. It's just,
you think it's all deception?
I think it's all deception.
Really?
Yeah. But, that's my opinion. I've looked at all the videotapes and that people have given me, and I can explain away each one of them.
So apparently, but there's apparently lots of footage and videos and photos that have not been released to the public.
Yeah, I haven't seen those, so I can't give.
And if you think this is all some sort of psyop, what do you think the ultimate purpose of it is?
Distraction against a lot of this human experimentation we're doing.
Your assessments here are correct. These are very covert weapons, aren't they? They don't leave behind bomb fragments, bullet holes, etc. They could absolutely be used by our adversaries and have very low levels of, very easy to deny that they were even there, that they were used. Is that correct?
That's correct. There's no entry or exit wound. How they're designed is to make the target feel like they're crazy, like they're imagining things, especially on the low duration, the low intensity, long duration hits.
You guys also said that these attacks are happening right here in this city. Is that correct?
I mean, there have been some that have gone public with respect to Washington, D.C.
I think it was Mr. Grozev said you spoke to a Russian agent who said that they believe that Americans are using these same weapons on them. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Might that have something to do with part of the CIA's motive to cover up the existence of this tech and these weapons?
That is a very logical possibility.
It's all come out, ladies and gentlemen. Directed energy weapons are being used at home. They're covering it up. At first, they rolled out the 5G, and then everybody started getting sick. This isn't an other people's problem. This isn't just happening to other people. This is happening to everybody. And you need to pay attention if you've been feeling off since the rollout of 5G, especially as a conservative or a pureblood. Chances are you're being targeted by this system. If you've been feeling chronic fatigue, recurring headaches, back problems, pain not associated with an injury, you're being hit by these weapons. It's not what you think. It's what they don't want you to know about. That's why we strongly recommend that you check out this book, Transhuman Genocide, so that you can understand exactly what's going on and how to defend yourself. You can find this book on Amazon. But this isn't your imagination. They want to torture people with long duration attacks. They mimic the stages of cancer. They cause heart attacks and strokes. You're all in danger.
London bridges make so much sense now. How did I not see this?
Adrenochrome was starting to say it when you were telling us about your family's involvement in children's adrenal glands. Is that, at least in part, what you were talking about? Adrenochrome?
I believe that is one of the compounds that they are seeking. Is one of those. There's when you have norepinephrine and epinephrine, and then you have adrenochrome. These are different compounds of what happens when the body produces adrenaline and how that chain reaction takes place. I don't know the specifics of the names of the compounds that they were after. I know that some of those products had a silvery sheen to them. One of those plasmids that they would put, some of them were literally kept in gold vials, silver vials, and copper vials, and then others were in glass vials. Those were the main product line. Like when I was being used as a mule to traffic those specific compounds, those vials around in central Arizona, in the White Mountains, specifically to a lot of individuals in the Mormon church. The Mormon church was utilizing those compounds during their rituals. They're very much interconnected with the same cult ideologies and rituals of the Freemasons. They were utilizing a lot of those in those rituals, and I was being used as a mule to bring those up from Lake Havasu City, Arizona, where the London Bridge and these Knights of Columbus were operating out of, where they had a factory to produce these things that came up from Nogales and up into Tucson, Arizona, into Phoenix, and this human trafficking chain that went up all the way over into Lake Havasu. It was ultimately the main distribution hub for this was from that sovereign territory for the city of London that is right there at the London Bridge. That is a legal territory that the city of London has like an embassy here in the United States. That is where these activities take place. That is the central hub of the main distribution network for those very products, those human-based products that were being distributed out from there to Las Vegas, to Los Angeles, San Diego, San Francisco. That was the hub of it, and I still believe Epstein Island is a form of the Pleasure Island. The previous generation of what I witnessed was all centered there in Lake Havasu.
يود بازالتو نور كده محمد واحد بعد اذنك.
Okay, I got a weird one for you. Why is the Vatican holding a press conference this Thursday? A reason that they give for this press conference is cause for alarm. But before I move on, I must say this video is for entertainment purposes only. With that being said, let's take a look, shall we? Vatican preparing guidelines for apparitions and other supernatural phenomena. So guidelines, the Vatican puts out guidelines all the time. and they update them all the time. But regarding supernatural phenomenon and apparitions, they haven't done it since 1978. The Vatican is preparing to release a document giving guidance on how to discern supernatural phenomena. The Holy See Press Office announced the upcoming document will be published May 17th with a live stream press conference. They are in the process of finalizing a new text with clear guidelines and norms for the discernment of apparitions and other phenomena, according to the National Catholic Register. Why are they so concerned that we might not understand the difference between apparitions and other phenomenons? I don't know. Maybe we should look and see how the Vatican defines an apparition. An apparition refers to an instance in which a divine entity, such as a saint, the Virgin Mary, or Christ himself, makes itself known to a person on earth. I told you it was weird. What do they think we're going to see that we would not be able to discern between the supernatural and other phenomena? Is this really just an update to their guidelines, or is it a preemptive strike? I'm kind of leaning towards the preemptive strike, getting the information out there before it happens. But I have no idea. I do know I'm interested, and I'll be watching.
The Kabbalah is a collection of Jewish magical texts which were given to mankind via psychic communion with a fallen angel called Raziel. Raziel is one of a pantheon of so-called fallen angels who serve the light-bringer Lucifer. The Kabbalah describes the many angels and demons who inhabit the spiritual realm. The Kabbalah gives Kabbalists a roadmap called the Tree of Life, which explains how to invoke and communicate with these powerful spirits. The magical information in the Kabbalah originates from Babylon and ancient Egypt at the time of the pharaohs, but did not reach Europe in printed form until the 11th and 12th centuries. The sacred books of the Kabbalah are just a few thousand words long, but they contain complex descriptions of a spherical Earth, parallel universes, and the atomic nature of matter, ideas which have become common doctrine amongst modern physicists and astronomers. How could such complex information be contained in a group of ancient texts barely larger than an average magazine? The answer is that the Kabbalah is written in code. Codes are used to conceal multi-layered complex information which would later be studied by medieval alchemists. Sir Isaac Newton and many leading scientists studied the rich occult sciences within the Kabbalah. There was a time when mysticism, religion, alchemy, astronomy, and astrology were studied as one Kabbalistically based tradition. Jewish physicist Albert Einstein conveyed pages and pages of complex calculations in a simple 5-symbol code. E equals mc squared. Modern-day quantum physics, chaos theory, and the notion of parallel universes can all be traced back to the original texts of the ancient Kabbalah. The higher secrets of the Kabbalah included instructions on how to kill a person with just one look. This is called the evil eye. The magical name for the evil eye is En-ha-Ra. In a wax cylinder recording made in 1921, we can hear British black magician and part-time espionage agent Aleister Crowley invoking the fallen demon angel Raziel and En-Ra-Ha, the evil eye. Since medieval times, the Jewish people have been considered a race of magicians. The biblical rabbis used shaman-type techniques to induce altered states of consciousness. Fasting, flagellation, and burying oneself up to the neck were all techniques used to prepare the rabbi-magician for a battle through the 7 portals of the Kabbalistic Tree of Life, where they would eventually meet the supreme deity in a realm called the Merkaba. Ritual sex magic was also practiced amongst some Jewish cults. Many temples had holes in the walls so that rabbis could ritually sodomize a prostitute, a young man or a boy, and invoke the fallen angel Raziel as they reached sexual climax. The word sodomy is derived from the name of the biblical city of Sodom, in which sex magic and also blood sacrifice were widely practiced. A strange version of vampirism, or blood drinking, is still practiced to this day by many rabbis who suck the blood from the freshly severed foreskin of newborn babies. Much of the ritual we see in the modern-day Catholic Church, such as the symbolic eating the flesh of Christ and the symbolic drinking of his blood, are derived from ancient Jewish rituals in which different forms of vampirism and blood sacrifice were an accepted part of this occult tradition. After all, the Pope does wear a Jewish yarmulke. The collection of texts called the Kabbalah were eventually transcribed by Rabbi Isaac the Blind in Provence in the south of France during the 12th century. For the first time in its 6,000-year history, the ancient magical techniques of invoking fallen demonic angels and killing someone using the evil eye were put down on paper. The Kabbalistic writings of Isaac the Blind fell into the hands of a group of 9 French noblemen. These noblemen became known as the Knights Templar. The word cabal, meaning a group who conspire together, comes from the word Kabbalah. One such cabal, who were to later inspire a whole armada of black magic cults and Freemasonry, were the so-called Knights Templar. They laughingly called themselves the Poor Knights of Christ, but these men were far from poor. They deliberately styled themselves as monks so that they could go about their Luciferian Kabbalistic studies and conduct business without being taxed nor arouse suspicion from the Vatican. The Kabbalistic higher secrets of ritual sodomy, the evil eye, chanting incantations, necromancy, blood sacrifice, and invoking the fallen angels in service to Lucifer fascinated the French Knights Templar. They realized that the Kabbalah originated in Palestine, and once they had realized that the Kabbalah was the key to untold spiritual magical power, they cunningly planned a bloody crusade to Palestine in order to search for more Kabbalistic and magical artifacts. They eventually discovered and looted the Temple of Solomon. Solomon was a biblical magician king who is accredited with inspiring large parts of the corpus of works we now know as the Kabbalah. The Knights Templar arrived in Palestine with one main goal: to stop the Muslims from gaining any knowledge about the Kabbalah. Historical Islamic oral accounts from the 12th century testify to a sickening crusade of plunder, torture, murder, and sexual depravity. The Knights Templar, once they had discovered the magical teachings of the Kabbalah, were dedicated utterly to destroying its origins so that they might hold its secrets exclusively.
I have the heart of a small boy. I keep it in a jar on my desk.
I bet you get a lot of mileage out of that one.
I have never used that line before in my entire life.
Okay.
With great pomp, fanfare, and ceremony, Pope Francis, the head of the Jesuit order, announced through his cantor the imminent emergence, the near advent of the coming to light of the Antichrist.
In quam Lucifer, qui nescito casum, Christus filius tuus, qui regressus ab inferis, humano generis serenus illuxit, et tecum vivit et regnat, in saecula saeculorum.
During this pronouncement, the cantor called Lucifer God, claiming Lucifer to be the father of Jesus Christ. The cantor acknowledged Lucifer as the Antichrist himself and worshipped him. To this, a great crowd and the whole world sang, This was the 3D ceremony that the Pope wanted to be seen worldwide. The announcement to the world, the son of perdition, this way comes.
Supernis luminaribus misceatur, flammas eius, Lucifer matutinus indeniat, ille in quam Lucifer qui nescito casum.
Neither then or today do they make any reference of knowledge of any mass killings. So they had to have done this right under their noses, you know. So there's no evidence of a deliberate mass killing. Some people died in the camps, but again, nowhere near these numbers. So the point is, there was an internment, but no intention of.
What about the gas chambers? I heard that there was no proof of the gas chambers either. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And in fact, the pioneer in that research that we owe a debt of gratitude His name is David Cole. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
No.
But he's a Jewish kid. Well, he's not a kid now, but he was a Jewish kid in his 20s. This is back in the 90s. He went to Auschwitz. He put his yarmulke on, and he had a camera. He says, the reason I put my yarmulke on is that I wanted to gain the trust of the Auschwitz curator there and ask questions. And he was able to get a confession of sorts that the so-called gas chambers that they showed to the tourists there is actually constructed by the Soviets after the war. It's like a Disneyland thing. It's a post-war reconstruction. And now they admit this. So even the Jewish Holocaust scholars admit this. If you go to Auschwitz, they're not going to tell you this, but what you're seeing that purports to be a gas chamber is a reconstruction. So we're supposed to just take the Soviets' word for it.
Thank you all for meeting with me. You're all doing some wonderful work destroying the world, but I think it's probably time for us to reevaluate.
Yeah, sorry for the interruption, but I think we're in the wrong meeting. We're not here to destroy the world. We're here to save it. You see, we are some of the leading leaders of liberal causes, and I'm with the Human Rights Campaign, who focus on LGBTQ+ and trans rights. You see, I have the equal sign to let you know that I'm a good person.
Oh, excuse me, women's reproductive rights.
Climate.
Free Palestine. Open borders. I misspoke before. You guys are not destroying the world, okay? You are saving the world.
Whoa, what's up with those scare quotes?
Pretty sure I didn't use scare quotes when I said saving the world. The important thing to keep in mind is that there's a big election coming up, and we're all on the same page, okay? So if we want Biden to win, he needs to win in order for us to save the world. If we want Biden to win, you folks, how can I say this? You might need to tone it down just.
Tone down what?
Oh, that's a good question. You're women's reproductive rights, right? Okay. Excellent branding, by the way. It's much easier on the ears than baby murder, so kudos to you on that one. But opposing any restrictions all the way through to the 9th month, I mean, you see how you're kind of tipping your hand, right? Makes people think, wait, maybe they actually want to kill babies. And we do, obviously.
No, we don't.
Oh.
No, we don't. We don't.
Right. We don't. But you see how it can kind of look that way. So that's all I'm saying. Let's tone it down. And you, immigration, clearly we don't want a completely open border that undermines any sense of national sovereignty, driving down wages for the working class and overtaxing the welfare state. So let's go a bit easy there too. I mean, why not something like this? Why not something like diversity is our... Are
you trying to say diversity is our strength?
Yes! How do you say that without laughing? Oh my gosh. I can't even get through it. This is head de moi. My sides. My goodness. Okay, what about you? Pro-Palestine. You are, I'm going to say this. You're kind of coming across like you just want to wipe Israel off the map and kill all the Jews.
We do want to wipe Israel off the map and kill all the Jews.
Of course, yes. And that's awesome. I'm all for that. I love that. But you need to pretend like you don't want to wipe Israel off the map and kill all the Jews.
Why?
Excuse me?
I mean, we're pretty clear in our position, and most young people and everyone on college campuses, and half the Democratic Party, of course, still support us.
Yeah, it's cool now.
You may have a point there. You might be the only person in here that can be as evil as you want to be and get away with it. All right, still, let's think about tactics. Okay, do you think that occupying bridges and blocking traffic is somehow winning people over to your cause?
Yeah, and making people hate us by blocking traffic is our thing. He's stealing our thing!
You're not stealing your thing. You must die. We will kill you all!
See, this is what I'm talking about. I mean, okay, I love the homicidal thing that you got going on there. I really dig it, okay? But maybe market it just a little bit differently. Like the serial killer that everyone thinks is such a sweet guy, He's got 27 bodies in the basement, but he's like, coaching Little League. That's what I want. Be that guy.
Death to America.
The funny thing is, you don't even look Middle Eastern. Am I wrong, people? Am I wrong?
I'm not. I actually grew up on Long Island, but my parents sent me to college. Death to America.
HRC guy. You have been going over the top as well.
Well, it's important for us, they, them, to be accepted just like everyone else.
Yes, of course. And convincing people that they're intolerant for not wanting men to get naked in women's locker rooms. I guess that's genius. I mean, come on, it's next level stuff. All right, but insisting that your children be mutilated. I mean, come on, it's turning people off, you guys. I mean, not everyone, obviously, but until the election, can we just all pretend for a few months not to be crazed, lunatic, homicidal extremists?
Extremist? No, it's my body, my Donald J. Trump.
You will obey me. Sorry. Glad we're all on the same page, though. So, how do you do it? You know? When I do evil stuff, it seems like nobody likes me. When you do it, everyone finds you sympathetic.
Well, see, my people are oppressed victims. So we can rape, murder, and call for genocide, and it's pretty much totally justified.
Well done, Ahmed. Well done.
Seconda domanda, se mi permette, perché forse sembrerà una domanda un po' più strana. C'è stata una grande attenzione da parte dei media sul cosiddetto fenomeno UFO, con autori e scienziati di spicco in luoghi come l'Università di Stanford che hanno affermato che gli incontri UFO sono in realtà incontri spirituali, che alcuni resoconti che parlano di apparizioni celesti e simili. Alcuni in questi giorni hanno suggerito che questo nuovo documento fornisce norme anche per la valutazione di queste esperienze. Sua Eminenza può confermare che è così o non è così, solo per evitare su social.
Grazie.
Tutto.
Poi gli UFO non siamo specialisti, veramente non possiamo intervenire, no? Potrebbe accadere che un certo fenomeno di questo tipo sia collegato a un fenomeno religioso cristiano, no? Cattolico, in quel caso si vedrà, ma altrimenti no. Questo potrebbe accadere anche in altre religioni e non è compito nostro, no? E fuori dalla fede meno ancora, certamente.
Hey, what's up? I'm Tony Hawk, and I recently became an ambassador for Liquid Death Mountain Water. Apparently, I didn't read the fine print, and now Liquid Death officially owns my soul. And my blood, too? I don't know, it's very confusing. They're taking my blood, and we're gonna use it for skateboard graphics. So they're gonna mix my blood into the paint and do a limited run of skateboards using my real blood in the graphics. But some of the profits will go towards killing plastic pollution and to building skate parks in underserved communities. Yeah, so I guess go to liquiddeath.com to get skateboards with my blood in it. So wait, if you have my blood, that means you have my DNA.
Get the Liquid Death skateboard infused with 100% real Tony Hawk today. Wow, you can own your very own piece of Birdman, but hurry. Supplies are extremely limited, so visit liquiddeath.com/hawkblood right now.
But the planet Saturn is very important in world affairs, in theology. In the Islamic belief, the holy city of Mecca, which is in Saudi Arabia, a Masonic circle, and within the Masonic circle is a square, because you got to do everything on the square, remember. You have a town square, you have New York Square, you have Vatican Square, you have Red Square, you have all kinds of squares. Why? Because this is Masonic. And it goes all the way back into the ancient world, the terms and symbols. That's why priests wear black. That's why judges wear a black robe. Why black robes? Darth Vader wears a black robe. What the hell does a black robe have to do with anything? The judges wear black robes. You know, Supreme Court judges wear black robes. Black robes represent the priesthood of the planet Saturn, the Saturnalian Brotherhood. All you need to do is study Nazism, and you will begin to see that the powers behind the Nazi Party, the Thule Society, the Germanian Order, were all members of something called the Saturnalian Brotherhood, the Brotherhood of Saturn. Saturn was the god of darkness, chaos, and destruction. He teaches you a lesson.
Let's pick the dates, Donald. I hear you're free on Wednesdays. Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. Since then, he hadn't shown up for debates. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal. I'll even do it twice. So let's pick the dates, Donald. I hear you're free on Wednesdays.
You can't.
Okay.
You should cut that list out.
Your reputation is you like to text underage girls, sending pictures of your dangling. That's your reputation. Whatever you do, you can't do anything about it. Bill Clinton officiated your wedding with Puma, your wife, if I'm not mistaken. Correct. So you've been very close, and she was a right-hand person to Hillary Clinton in 2016 while the scandal was taking place.
For years before that, she was with Hillary for 20 years.
Email 650,000. One folder with the word life insurance and the files that are in there. So 9 out of 12 cops, NYPD, who saw the email and saw what was in that laptop, committed suicide. And the most ever that this took place, and these are the men that committed suicide. First thing I ask myself is, how the hell is Anthony Weiner still alive? Well, when you go through the list of people that have been close to Hillary Clinton and the Clintons, this is not a conspiracy. You got the names of James McDougal, died of an apparent heart attack. Mary Mahoney, a former White House intern, was murdered July 1997 at a Starbucks coffee shop. Victor Razor, you got Ed Woolley. It's 46 names.
He's just reading the article. He's reading a list of names.
So
he hasn't even asked a question. It's a list.
The fact that you're getting nervous is an answer.
It's not
okay?
nervous. This stuff makes me sick when you repeat
exactly.
these
Makes us
ridiculous.
sick as well.
How about you pick one? Pick one and tell me who he was and what his story was.
Pull up Vince Foster if you want.
No, Vince Foster, that suicide has been investigated 50 times.
Can you let me ask the question?
No, listen, this is a conversation.
No.
We're having a conversation.
I'm sorry, I'm the host. You invite me to your podcast, you get to ask the question. I'm the host. I'm going to ask you the question. Your reaction is already an answer.
I know. I am infuriated by people who drag other people's names who are powerless. You're not powerless.
Hillary Clinton is powerless?
No, these people.
Hillary Clinton is powerless.
These people.
That's the problem.
These people.
Hillary's the problem.
You read a list of people because you have the power to do it. People who do that are bullies, and I don't appreciate bullies.
I have the power to do what?
You do. To read a list of some stranger's names.
I have the power to use the DOJ and other things to control and hide things.
That's not DOJ.
Yeah.
DOJ didn't make this list.
Let me finish up my question.
Some jackass made a list in his basement.
You have the right to
You're
answer.
reading their names as if they're incriminating in some way.
Right to...
Conspiracy theory podcast, a conspiracy theory that 9 people read. You find some guy that comes in, and then you go from Ron Brown to some obscure officer that used to protect Bill Clinton, who passed away.
How is it that the reputation that follows them is people close to them die?
You should cut that
to take
list
the
out.
angle you did. You're exactly.
Listen to me. You're talking conference now.
Oh, okay.
You should cut that list out of those people.
Absolutely.
We can still have the argument. You and I are big boys. Cut that list out.
I'm not going to be cutting that list.
This right here is the Bible from 1775 telling us at the time that we used to have 13 months. The first month of the year is March. Look at all the way to the end, guys. There's 13 months. 13 months. First day of the week, Sunday. Second day, Monday. Look at that. 7th day or Sabbath, Saturday. This is the proof right here.
One of the things Constantine did was because he wanted the pagans to worship God, Jehovah, was he moved the day of worship to the day of the sun, which is why we now worship on Sunday, because Sunday became a pagan day. Well, another thing Constantine did was move the day of Jesus' birth to December, because Tammuz died on December 23rd. And it was believed, because Nimrod, his father, was a hunter, it was believed
that Nimrod would be reborn in his son Tammuz. And his son Tammuz's birthday was December 25th. And what you would do on Tammuz's birthday was you would set up a tree. Deuteronomy 16:21. You shall not plant for yourself any tree as a wooden image near the altar which you build for yourself to the Lord your God. It was believed that in order for Tammuz to rise again as his son Nimrod, you'd have to go to the tree, you'd have to cut down a tree from the forest, and you'd have to put balls on it. And the balls were symbolic of testicles. The tree was symbolic of a phallus. Jeremiah chapter 10. Look what it says. Hear the word which the Lord speaks to you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord. Do not learn the way of the Gentiles. Do not be dismayed at the signs of the heaven, for the Gentiles are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are futile. For one cuts a tree from the forest, the work of the hands of the workman with an axe. They decorate it with silver and gold. They fasten it with nails and hammers so that it will not topple. I hate to bring you bad news.
When you say rebuild the periodic table, what do you mean specifically?
Well, the way the periodic table is laid out, the periodic table they have now,
let's see.
It looks like a box. It looks like a straight box.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't show that hydrogen has the same tone as carbon.
What do you mean by tone?
Same tone, same key of E. Same key of E. 40.5 hertz. The next one would be like 81 hertz. You go to silicon, it will double up and would be 162 hertz. You'll go to cobalt, and it'll be 324 hertz. It's take the angles of incidence or the tones that they create, their color. Like you can turn color back into sound based upon, it's the same wavelength, it's just twice as long or much longer. So all you have to do is keep dividing light by 2. You keep dividing light by 2, and you'll ultimately get back to the audible sound of it, because there was a relationship between light and color, sound and tone, matter and shape. Walter Russell's periodic table that he put together. Now you compare that to Mendeleev's periodic table, and you'll see something completely different. It's unwinding.
Whoa.
And you see there's a relationship that hydrogen...
So you had figured this out at a young age?
I had already seen this. This was all inside of that palace. I had access to it, and I knew the relationship.
So you saw this in dreams?
I saw it as a circle. Everything was a full circle laid out, and each area was just expanding, like wrapping a rag around your hand. The first wrap, it's so tight. This is how I saw it more so, but as a vortex, you'll see there's a relationship between hydrogen, carbon, silicon, cobalt, rhodium. They're all bonded. They're all sit as the middle point between two noble gases. So those things don't really exist. It's only one substance. Now, the problem is the first thing that we're able to perceive is hydrogen. That's the first visible element, because before it is too dense for us to perceive it. You understand what I'm saying? As you reach into the next octave, the carbon octave, and they call that a bisexual tone, because the carbon has two tones to it. It has a negative side and a positive side. The part where lithium behaves, lithium is contractive, beryllium is contractive. Boron is contractive, but the moment you get to carbon, you balance it out. Gets to a perfect balance of plus and minus 4. So it's a double tone. Nitrogen is -3, oxygen is -2, fluorine is -1. Now the balance of this, all of those are mates. Fluorine and lithium naturally mate. If you have lithium bonded with any other element, the moment that fluorine is introduced, it will break all bonds violently so it can bond with fluorine. Same thing with beryllium and oxygen. That's why it said, and what they've tried to keep from us, if you want to break water into its component parts of hydrogen and oxygen, all you have to do is introduce beryllium or the sound of beryllium, and oxygen will violently break away from any other thing, even hydrogen, to bond with that beryllium.
Interesting too in the Star Wars, according to the Masonic reference works that you can get in any library, the the Freemasonic Orders of Europe said that there was a little ideologue, a little spiritual entity that gave the knowledge to what the Masons call our hidden masters. That's what Freemasonry refers to, those who lead world Freemasonry. They don't know who they are. No Freemason knows who the actual leaders of the world organization are. They call them our hidden masters. Well, according to the reference works, there is a little spiritual entity that guides the world Freemasonry, and they call him Yoda. And in the reference works, you'll see this little creature with the pointed ears, and he's called Yota. Yota goes back to Judah, or Judah, which goes back into British Israel World Freemasonry, going back to the time of the founding of England.
So you'll notice, if you look at the timeline there on the left, that the approval of the amendment was maybe a day after that hearing. So I don't think those are necessarily synchronized. The work for Schumer was going on in the background, but all these contributive factors were lowering that threshold for making this acceptable. So if you look at the folks that are actually supporting this, you got 2 folks on the SASC, you got 2 folks on the SISI, you've got complete bipartisanship, right? You've got Rounds and Schumer that are sponsors, but of course you've got Senator Gillibrand and Senator Rubio from the left and the right supporting it, and you've got Senator Heinrich and Young. And the other interesting takeaway from this is there's 2 people that are sponsoring this bill that are on the Gang of 8. So the Gang of 8 was really a concept that got created out of the Church Commission when there was intel oversight concerns back in the 60s and the 70s, where there were activities going on that Congress was not aware of and that were essentially illegal. And so there was a structure put in place such that certain key members of Congress would be legally entitled to hear about all information that pertained to the equities of Title 10 and Title 50. And so that created this concept of the Gang of 8, which is the majority leader and the minority leader in the Senate, the speaker and the minority leader in the House, and then the ranking and chairs of each of the intel committees. So that's 8 folks. So these folks are the people in Congress that are aware of all the information. So that should sink in. There are 2 people that are sponsoring this in Congress that say we need this legislation because things aren't working right. And these are the people that are read into everything.
A health warning tonight as a new mutation of COVID sweeps the country just in time for winter. The strain is highly contagious, prompting new advice on boosters and antivirals.
It takes a lot to floor 9 News Seniors reporter Bruce Page, but the past few days have been miserable.
This is a man who's had 6 shots. I thought, bulletproof? No, got me.
It's not the 75-year-old's first brush with COVID, but this round is much worse.
Knocked me over. First time was a breeze compared to this. Aches, coughing, ribs are sore from the coughing. I don't like it.
It does look like we're in the midst of a new wave. It's not just our state, it's basically the whole country, and in fact most parts of the world are seeing a similar thing right now.
Driving the fresh threat, a family of highly contagious new subvariants called Flirt, with seniors and at-risk people who haven't had a recent booster vaccination being urged to get one.
Those people are still very susceptible, particularly with these new variants, and with case numbers rising, that will result in hospitalisations and people not surviving.
Infectious diseases experts say antiviral medications are effective if you take them early enough, though not every pharmacy has them in stock, as Bruce found.
The doctor put me on antivirals, and then the problem was trying to find a pharmacy that had them. We got lucky with number 3, and they've really made a difference.
Have a chat to your GP or pharmacist ahead of time. Come up with a plan for if you get COVID so you can get tested and get antivirals.
Bruce's advice, don't put COVID on the back seat.
Get your boosters, wear your masks, wash your hands, all the things we were told when it first hit us. This has really hit me hard. It's a wake-up call.
Melissa Downs, 9 News.
This show was canceled because there was too much truth in it. Watch this.
Every year, it brings together the 6 societies that secretly rule the world. The Reptoids.
Here comes the toast of the undercrust. It's the Reptoids, honey!
The Atlanteans.
They're a little wet. They're a little wild. It's the Atlanteans!
Catholic Church.
They wear sandals and create scandals. It's the Catholic Church.
Mamma mia, bucca de pepo. The Juggalos, for some reason.
And these jokers are wild. It's the Juggalos.
That's right. If magic is all we've ever known.
What? You bitches down to clown? We secretly control global finance.
Us. That's right, bitches. Ridley is back and randier than ever. Top that entrance, motherfucker. And of course, our arch rivals, the Illuminati.
Please welcome all partying Illuminati.
I love you, Jay-Z.
Queen Bee! Lin-Manuel!
Illuminati confirmed. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall. Oh, God! President Reagan is dead!
When you can say, I am God, you are acknowledging the fact that a piece of source individualized itself as you. And you will also recognize at the same time that every other being is also a piece of source, individualized. Source is learning to know itself progressively, eternally, through manifesting itself in a multitude of forms. These are the teachings that Jesus taught. These are the teachings that the Essenes traveled from place to place to teach and got hunted by all sorts of people because of it. We have been taught in our cultures a gross twist and distortion of our relationship to God. We've been taught God is way out there someplace, and we're way down here someplace, and there's this big space in between the two. We have been taught that, not because they were the original teachings from Source, not because they were even the original teachings from Jesus. We were taught that because certain people, let's refer to them right now as the Illuminati Collective, who were in places of power since the Atlantean period, which technically ended in 9058 BC, they decided they'd like to run the world. They decided they would like to take over this planet and its stargates. And they decided the way to do that was to hijack the consciousness of the other life forms that lived here. And they knew Templar mechanics, so they knew how to do it. Templar mechanics, the inner Christos teachings, they were used and twisted in a way that created an ability by certain Illuminati forces. They call themselves Illuminati because they were illuminated, and it was a very arrogant way of looking at it. They had the technical teachings left, but what they lost contact with was the law of one. What they lost contact with was the feeling of source within them, to where they could never hurt another life form because they knew it was only the self, because there was only one self. That was the God self, and that is all. The Illuminati races had the first distortions in genetic code on this planet. Their distortion in genetic code created within their consciousness a reciprocal distortion where they began to make a division in their own understanding between God, themselves, and other people, to the point where they could inflict harm on other people and justify it by scientific teachings without having any conscience or recognition that the people they were harming were another face, another aspect of themselves, because all were God. These teachings that once upon a time gave us freedom and the absolute free will joy to create, co-create with Source, the collective of what Source is. We were given those teachings for a joyful creation here.